Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to this dose of celestial goodness. As always, thank you for joining me in this space and on this journey. I appreciate your time and your presence. So, how are you doing? I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that all is well with your heart, with your mind, with your soul, and with your body. There's an old hymn that someone in my family used to listen to, probably grandma, and there are lines from it that have stayed in my mind. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to know, it is well with my soul. And so before I get into our main topic, and this is actually sort of tied in, I just wanted us to check in with ourselves. How is your heart? Is it well? How is your mind? Are you overthinking, or is your mind calm? How is your spirit? Is it settled or is it unsettled? How is your physical body? And at this very moment, how are you? Are you tense? So unclench your jaw. Whoa. And then think about your favorite person in the world. And I hope that brought a smile to your heart. And then I want you to think about the most beautiful thing that you have ever seen. And maybe you thought of many things all at once, but those two things, like your favorite person and a beautiful thing, can almost immediately help to shift your mood. So we must check in with ourselves. The body is so wise and it can tell us so much. And of course, it's really on us to listen and to take action. And sometimes the action is no action. It's to rest, or it's to be in stillness. And in our society today, yes, there's a lot of talk about mindfulness and being present. But there is so much going on, and so much of it feels like a constant assault to our nervous system. It is more important than ever to keep ourselves grounded, centered, and steady in our body and our soul. The founder of Headspace, Andy Buddicombe, said that the biggest gift we can give ourselves is the gift of being present, engaged with life, connected with each other, listening with kindness, staying open-minded and free from judgment. And in a way, that is a gift to everyone else when we're doing that. So there are many ways of accomplishing this, but I would say that two of the easiest ways are to check in with ourselves, ask those questions, and then bring focus to this moment through breath. So sometimes just breathing deeply brings us into the conscious awareness that we are here right now, not in the past and not in the future. And going too far in either direction can create a lot of anxiety and a lot of unnecessary stress. And just as a disclaimer, this is really not meant to minimize anyone's deep trauma. And if that is your reality, I'm really a huge advocate for seeking professional help for that. Now, as a recovering overthinker and not fully recovered yet, sometimes I get in my own head and I need a reminder to just come back to the present moment and to center myself. I'm so thankful to have some very lovely people around me to remind me of all the tools at my disposal for staying present. My cousin, my sister, the original Ed Snatcher, yes, and some of my closest friends remind me about these things when I forget. Granted, they all have their different methods of reminding me, so it's like laughter or sage words, memes, but my cousin has been known to call me internationally, mind you, and actually breathe with me. Like once I was crying so hard because I am a water bucket after all, and she just said, "It's okay, honey, breathe with me." So there are things that we can do to help calm our nervous system. and we can help ourselves to find our way back to the present moment. So a fun fact, when I teach my university students the art of negotiations, one of the things that I remind them is that they should pay attention to their breathing. If they catch themselves doing small, shallow breaths, they should consider a small break to refocus their breathing. It has actually been proven that making decisions when your nerves are frayed, it's no bueno. You're actually more inclined to make poor decisions. So we are just going to breathe together for a moment. And for the people who are reading my blog, I actually will just kind of write out the instructions for them. But for the rest of us, we're going to take some deep but comfortable breaths. We're going to do what is called diaphragmatic breathing. So you can sit down or lay down in a comfortable place, and I would say just do it sitting or whatever you're doing listening to this, because it's meant to be sort of like a quick on the go help you to recenter. And you'll place one hand on your chest, preferably over your heart chakra, and your other hand will be on your abdomen. Okay? And you're going to inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 2 seconds, and then exhale for 6 seconds. And just very slowly through your mouth and steadily, okay? So you're going to breathe up from the diaphragm, and then sometimes when I have the breathing down, I will actually include a small mantra. And some really good ones are like, I am safe, I am supported, I am at peace, I am love. So we're just going to take a few seconds to just do a little breathing. All right. So inhale. And then exhale for 6 counts. Inhale through the nose. Hold for 2. And then exhale for 6. Okay? And you just do that, and honestly, you can totally feel your body just relaxing and just kind of recentering itself. All right, so when I'm done doing that, I just like to thank my heart. And at that point, I can generally feel it beating, and that too is a reminder. Once we're alive, there's so much hope. There's so much potential for love and beauty and joy and peace. So from a centered place, we are agents of these things. We are, as Paulo Coelho would say, warriors of light. The warrior of light is a believer. Because he believes in miracles, miracles begin to happen. Because he is sure that his thoughts can change his life begins to change. Because he is certain that he will find love, love appears. So we're never sure, like if or when these things will happen, the various things that we want for our future. We're just trusting and hoping, right, that they will. And that if they won't, that we will be able to be at peace. Now, as we take action by living each day and putting out the intention for what we desire, listening to the guidance that we receive on our next steps and staying present, we realize one day that this is the journey, and it's constantly unfolding before us every single day. Now, I'm sure that I've spoken about these topics before: patience, trust, flow, and navigating through the unknown. But these are always good topics to come back to, especially if they're things that have been on my mind very heavily. Now, as most of you, if you've been listening, you know that I don't consider myself a patient person naturally. It's something that I've been learning over time. And I do think that the concept of trust is tied into patience. How do I stay in the flow of my life, especially when the things that I think I want have not yet appeared? How can I trust that what I desire or what I want and need will come to me? Now, I have been known to give the advice to others that we know not the hour of our own good fortune. Maybe we must wait another day, another week, another month, a year, or even years. But the journey really is the destination. And we don't give up just because something hasn't happened when we think, it should have, or when we might have wanted it to happen. There are people in this world, so many of us, believing in things that we simply cannot see. And we believe until we can see it, or we just have that extraordinary faith. But how can we savor whatever phase and space we're in at this very moment, while also keeping our heart and our minds open to what lies before us? So, I was not always a morning person. I used to prefer to stay up late, just a certified night owl. And in my adulting life, I've become a morning person. It doesn't matter what time I go to sleep, I will probably wake up before my alarm and before the sunrise. This is surprisingly okay with me because I've really grown to relish that time. That's like the quiet hours before the majority of the world is awake. In that quiet time, everything feels so peaceful. And the potential of a new day just lays out before me. So one of my favorite parts of the early morning is watching the new day come in. From my living room and office, I have a wonderful view of the east. So as a connoisseur of greeting the day, I have learned that every sunrise is different. Some come in slowly without much fanfare or colors. Sometimes it's raining or cloudy, but the light will eventually peek in. And those dark and gray days are also so beautiful. Some sunrises come in and they are just simply magnificent to behold. I can't look away because if I do, I might miss some of the splendor, the vibrancy of the colors, the way each one looks like it's a painting just meant for me. There's also a certain speed to which the sunrise and sunsets happen. It all happens very quickly. And in the grand scheme of things, if you're watching and if you look away, you're probably going to miss, you might miss something. But yet, when you are focused and you're watching and paying attention, each moment feels like a beautiful eternity of just watching a masterpiece unfold. I may not be sure of a lot of things in my life at the moment of a sunrise, but I can always be sure that morning will come in. I can trust in that, even when I have to be patient for the sun. And I cannot rush the sun. It moves at its own pace, but when it comes, it shines brightly. So we can insert, "Here comes the sun, da-na-na-na. It's all right." I love that song. So there's also something very comforting about this process. In those moments of stillness, of silence, and just of appreciating nature, something does happen to my spirit. I notice that when I ease into the day, I don't feel anxiety about all the things that I need to get done, or I worry about things that I carried into the dream world with me. That act of being present to watch the sunrise makes me feel more centered, more empowered to handle the uncertainties of the day. And it's a huge reminder and lesson in patience and trust. I have patience for the sunrise, and I trust that morning will always come. And I can do the same for other things in my life. So, Rainer Maria Rilke said, "Were it possible for us to see further than our knowledge reaches, and yet a little way beyond the outer works of our divinings, perhaps we would endure our sadnesses with greater confidence than our joys. For they are the moments when something new has entered into us, something unknown. Our feelings grow mute in shy perplexity. Everything in us withdraws, a stillness comes, and the new, which no one knows, stands in the midst of it and is silent. Each day contains a potential for miracles. And Paulo Coelho said, "The only trap I must beware not to fall into is to think that each day is the same as the next. In fact, each morning brings with it a hidden miracle, and we must pay attention to this miracle." Life is filled with a lot of unknowns. How we approach navigating the unfolding can make our lives literally heaven or hell. Being in the flow of life, trusting that whatever comes we'll be able to handle it, and being able to see the miracles of life are all beneficial tools for helping to cultivate trust in the future. Being present, breathing, living, loving, laughing, and trusting are so helpful right now. Like I said, there's a lot going on in the world and it can be overwhelming, but I encourage you to take even one moment to appreciate the beauty that is still abundant, especially in nature. Appreciate the people around you and trust, even when things feel hard, that life is supporting you endlessly. I hope that the stars shine brightly over your week, that it is a beautiful week indeed, and that you allow life to surprise you with delightful things and experiences. If you do ever feel overwhelmed, just remember me saying, like how my cousin says to me, "It's okay, honey, just breathe with me." Or like my sister says, "It's okay, sweetie, you're doing great." I venture to say that things are better than you may even realize. The not great stuff has a way of taking over everything else. So we have to fight a little bit harder to see what is working, what is going well, and just how some of what we used to worry about has actually worked out. You got this, and I believe in you. Thank you.